Every week, matchday nerves. Favourite garms and lucky charms. As a team, side by side in the zone, whistle blown. Adrenaline hits, outrageous assists, record breakers, magic makers. Agony to ecstasy, home and away, showing up together. Football is people. And everyone's welcome in the Premier League.
I remember that when we were together here, when we scored a lot of goals with our opponents, always he jump and celebrate, except one team.
Man City face Arsenal. I mean, it's big. It's big because they're the title rivals.
Yeah, it's a rival. Yeah, of course it is. We play a few times against Arsenal from Mikel, but this year is completely different, I have to admit it.
I want the best for him, and obviously when you are challenging with somebody like this, something comes in between.
That is what champions do! Man City, a lot of people said they're not playing at their best, but I would never write off Man City.
They're in a proper title race here, and it's going to be a great second half to the season.
We as a team, we need this type of challenge. It was Liverpool last season, now it's Arsenal, and this is the deal.
And welcome to the Emirates Stadium. My name is FG, and tonight is a huge game for Man City as we take on Arsenal, looking to go top of the table. Join me pitchside for exclusive interviews and reaction as we build up to this mouth-watering fixture between the league's top two here on Matchday Live. We have won our last 10 games against Arsenal and our last 6 here in North London. It's safe to say we are hoping for more of the same tonight. But for now, let's head to Manchester in the studio where Natalie Pike is with some very special guests.
Yes, FG, thank you so much. A big welcome to Match Day Live, a big game this evening. I'm joined in the studio by 2 of our regular guests, of course, Paul Dickov. Presume you've got your full kit under there, ready to play if you need to, Paul.
Yeah, a bit disappointed I wasn't down in London with the squad tonight, but I'll...
Thought you might get the call up.
Yeah, I'll let Pep away with that one, I think.
Steve Howey joins us again. Welcome, Steve.
Lovely to be here.
Thank you for coming, and we're so excited. Making his Matchday Live debut, of course, played for both Arsenal and City. It's Kolo Toure. Kolo, welcome.
Thank you very much.
We're so excited to have you here. Obviously, as someone that has played for both clubs, it's always nice to have new faces as well. Are you looking forward to the evening?
Absolutely. It's going to be a great game.
How was your week?
It was all right, yeah. Never been as popular in a long time, I don't think. You know, obviously I was in a meeting on Friday when Pep done his press conference and my phone just kept pinging. I thought something was wrong, and then obviously Pep's come out with bringing me and Mike Summerby back out of retirement, which I thought was genius. I thought his whole press conference was genius. But no, it's been a busy few days.
I absolutely loved it. I think all City fans loved it. It was Pep's knowledge of the history of the club and the use of it at the time. I was like, yes!
Yeah, I don't know about coming back out. I mean, me and Mike struggled to tie our shoelaces in the mornings at the best of times, so never mind putting a pair of boots on. And
then obviously at the game against Villa, there was the huge fight till the end banner, your knee slide, your 99 playoff knee slide. Yeah, it was lovely. I had no clue it was going on. I think they used it quite a bit in lockdown when the stadiums were empty to fill the seats, so to actually see it in a matchday game was really nice. Look at that, he's acting all cool, he's calm, yes. We're going to give you your starting 11 today, the second that we are allowed. Matchday Live is the first place to get your team news. Steve, we're playing Arsenal tonight. Obviously, top of the table clash. Perhaps not the team we expected to be playing when you're talking about a title competition, the teams at the top.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, for me, I still think the team is very strong. I think when you look at Arsenal themselves, they've had a fantastic season. Obviously, the two, obviously Pep and Mikel Arteta going head to head. We know Pep's got a fantastic sort of record against Arsenal in the last few years as well. I mean, this should be a great game because, yeah, Arsenal, they got beat off Everton, and yes, they drew against Brentford, which we all know the controversy surrounding that one. Obviously, Man City, off the back of their Aston Villa performance as well, was very, very good. We've seen Pep come out fighting. We've said, it has been said, it's a kind of us against the world mentality that the club have got at the moment, and certainly the players will think that as well in the dressing room. So I'm looking forward to this game. I think that, on paper it should be excellent. It would be nice to see some goals, but let's make sure that the vast majority of goals go to City.
Oh, gosh, the more we talk, the more excited I'm getting. My stomach is jumping. Right, I can give you your team news. The first place to get your team news is always Matchday Live. Here is your starting 11 for City this evening. And there is one change from the team that beat Villa at the weekend, and that is Nathan Ake comes in and Aymeric Laporte drops to the bench. So you have Edison. And then I'm going to say a back three. Walker, Diaz and Ake. And then it's Rodri, De Bruyne, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, Grealish, and Erling Haaland is fit. Erling Haaland starts this evening. Your subs bench, Ortega, Phillips, Laporte, Alvarez, Gomez, Akanji, Foden, Palmer and Lewis. So that is your Manchester City starting 11 for tonight's 7:30 p.m. kickoff against Arsenal. So I have a few nice little stats just to start us all off with. I think you'll like this. We've won each of our last 22 Premier League games on a Wednesday.
Who even thinks to find that out? I know.
I presume that's making you all feel very calm. We've also won our last 6 away league games at Arsenal in all competitions, which is an incredible stat because we know how good Arsenal are. Now, it wouldn't be right having two defenders sat opposite us if we didn't start by focusing on the Manchester City defence. So, Kolo, are you looking at that, presuming that is a back three?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I believe that, City have great players all over the place. And defensively, they're really strong. They have great centre-backs. Akanji, he's been terrific for me since he came to the club. The way he played, the calmness he brings to the team. You can see that Pep really is a fan of him. And I believe that this backline can be very strong.
Yes. I mean, in terms of looking at those back three, Ruben Diaz back, Steve, he played 45 minutes against Villa. And to me, he just brings an air of leadership, strength, like the tackle that he made against Leon Bailey. I loved it. I'm so happy to have him back. Yeah,
everything about him, for me, it kind of screams commanding, powerful, aggressive. Yes. He's very good on the ball as well. But somebody that he does very well at organising. You can see him constantly shouting and talking to his teammates who he once were and stuff like that. And I think, for midfield players or anybody that's in and around him, to have somebody that's vocal, is a massive help. I mean, even sometimes if it's nonsense, you just give them a shout just to sort of get them switched on again. That helps. But yeah, I mean, I really like him. Me and Kolo were just looking at that. We obviously think it's a three as well. Obviously, Bernardo Silva's in that position. I think you sort of said that he'd mentioned something about his position and what he calls it, which is about right.
Attacking defender is what he called it on social media this week.
So, listen, attacking-wise, so from the back three upwards, you've just got players that can get involved, move around the pitch. Arteta knows this because even though they have got the set places where they're really supposed to be, they don't. They move all over the place, and it is quite difficult for opposing teams to pick up because it's like, listen, you've got to mark such and such, and then that player all of a sudden is not in that area of that Arsenal player. He's on the opposite side. So for them, it's vastly important that they have communication. But things happen in the game so quickly. But defensively and looking at the lineup, it's a very strong lineup for Man City, and a one which, as I said, they have got that mentality at the moment of, it's us against them, it's us against everybody, and they'll want to put on a show tonight.
Yeah, you can tell as well, even Akanji is not playing, but you can tell that in the team there, how competition is high there, because to not have Akanji, for me, has been terrific for them, but Pep can just make that decision to leave him on the bench, and they're still really, really strong, which is, I think that shows the strength of this team, definitely.
Yeah,
I think it must be a system that Pep believes is going to work, obviously. But when, if you're saying Bernardo Silva is going to sort of fill in that left-back spot, it shows he's got a lot of confidence in the team to do that, because Akanji on the bench, Laporte, on the bench. You know, it must have been difficult to leave one of the two out. The easy thing would have been to put Ake left back and bring Laporte in or Akanji alongside Ruben Diaz. So, I mean, it looks as if it's going to be a 3-3-3 and Bernardo Silva just goes where he wants, because that's what happened. He's got the energy to do that. You know, that's what happened at the weekend against Aston Villa. It's predominantly was in that left back area at times. He was bobbing up in the right wing. He was bobbing up in centre midfield. You know, and as the guys have said there, it must be so difficult for the opposition to play against that when City have got the ball, because you don't really know who's going to be where. Because the midfield, even Gundogan and De Bruyne, they rotate all the time so much. You know, Kev might be up supporting Erling at some point, and then he'll be getting the ball off the back four, and Gundogan will be gone. So it's going to be really interesting.
Tactically, Kolo, could you explain to us in layman's terms what the difference really is tactically when you're playing with a back three as opposed to a back four?
When you play to a back three, the three centre backs have a lot of space to cover, you know, and especially the two guys on the side. They are the one who make the most run in the space, because they play almost at time like right backs. You know, and because the wing back at time will be high, and then the centre back from that side have to go on the side to cover that space, and that push the other side centre have to come inside, and that shift all the team all the time, and it's quite demanding tactically, and you need to make sure you have really intelligent players, which Man City always had. And the good thing with Man City is every player know what he need to do on the pitch tactically. They're very intelligent, they communicate well, they're well drilled by the manager, and that's why you can just always change those systems. Back four is basically simple. You know you have the two full-back on the side, you have two centre-back on the middle, you have four guys on the back line, much more easy to move, really.
Sorry, Nat, I was just saying, when I was starting to play at the back, I was always told by one of my coaches that when you're playing with a back three, that it's obviously very, very important that basically the three of you are all attached by a rope. So if the right kind of defender, central defender, if you want, on the right-hand side, if he goes out, as Kolo sort of said, covering the right back spot, then I'm getting tugged along on that piece of rope, the centre one, and then again the left one, he comes across. Obviously, if they do a diagonal ball, it is going to take like 1 second, 2 seconds to get across there. Then you're back on the rope and you back shift across. Obviously, by that time, you've got midfield players tucking in as well. So that's probably the easiest way to describe it, rather than a back four, that's your position. You just cover that right-hand side.
Is this back three a reaction, do you think, to the fact that we don't have any actual left backs senior left backs? Obviously we have Sergio Gomez, but there's an argument there that he was a midfielder that's kind of been drafted into that position or been created into that position. Is this a reaction to that, or is this not? Is this just Pep's tactical choice for these games?
I think it's tactical choice for him to go and win this game, because I think the easiest thing tonight would have done Nathan Ake, whether he's been playing centre half or left back this season, has been consistently one of our best players. And in my head, I thought Pep would have went Kyle Walker, Diaz with Laporte, or Akanji, and move Nathan Ake left back. So he obviously 100% believes that this is the system that's going to go and win the game. Talking about the three centre backs being important, I think the wide players like Riyad Mahrez and Jack Grealish are going to be really important as well. You know, because Martinelli on the left-hand side, Saka on the right, so they're going to have to make sure they track back again. And as always, I think our most important player is Rodri, sitting in front of the back four. You know, at times you might even see him dropping back in, and Ake moving outside to left back, and Kyle Walker right back. I wouldn't surprise me if we see that a few times at all.
I thought Rodri was phenomenal against Villa. Like his little mistake in the Spurs games, it was gone, and he was back to, you know, Rodri of power. I love the man.
But there's so different ways they can adapt to how the game's gone. You know, absolutely. Just say Rodri can go in there. Jack Grealish the last sort of few months has been outstanding. Not just going forward, but his defensive work, tracking back, and he's going to have to do that a lot today, as I said, especially with Tomiyasu and Saka on that side.
Now, if you would like to ask our guests any WhatsApp questions, as always, we would love you to get them in. The WhatsApp number will be on your screen in just a second. You can ask them anything. Tactical questions about the game, questions about their careers, whatever you would like. Get your WhatsApp questions in. The number is on your screen, and I will get through as many of them as I possibly can. And now, just a timely reminder as well, we are around about 50 minutes away from kick-off this evening. If you haven't already downloaded the Manchester City app, do that now. now, because that is where you get the best commentary. And you know, for these big games as well, you know you need Alistair Mann on your commentary. Alistair Mann, Michael Brown, get that on the Manchester City app. Now, we sent FG down to the Emirates. He is going to bring us the Arsenal team news for tonight.
Take it away. All right, it's FG here. I'm back pitchside, and I'm excited for this one. I am joined by Arsenal's main man, Frimpong. Arsenal.
How you doing, man? You good?
That's right. We start again. Yeah. All right, it's FG here, and I am back pitchside. And I tell you, I'm excited for this one because I am joined by Arsenal's main man.
What's going on, man?
Frimpong, mate. It's a pleasure to be stood with you pitchside.
Yeah, it's a pleasure seeing you as well. Of course, I've seen your stuff on Twitch. You know, you going ham on there. So it's great to finally see you in person.
You know, you're just gassing me up. Listen,
I have to.
This is the main man from Arsenal. We'll get on to that. First things first.
Yes.
We've seen the Arsenal team.
Yes, we have.
How are you feeling?
I'm confident. I mean, listen. This is a big game. It's a massive game, yeah. And Jorginho is going to come in there, step in. Of course, Thomas Partey, he can't make it with a slight injury. But, you know, Jorginho, this is his time to shine, you know what I mean? This is what we bought him for. He's not here just to sit on the bench and just watch us hopefully win the league, you know. I know you guys are breathing down our necks, but he's there coming basically to help out the team. So it's a good look. And, like, the battles in midfield is probably going to be where, you know, it's going to really, really see which team is going to hopefully take the 3 points today.
Isn't it funny how he's making me even more nervous just by what he's saying? Right, let's talk about that battle in midfield real quick. We mentioned Jorginho. I think it's a great signing for you.
Yep.
He will fit in. Let's talk about the main man, Odegaard. What a season he's having.
He's having a great season.
And
Listen, he's probably, you know, our top scorer. You know, he's been doing absolutely fantastic. A lot of people I know coming into the season had doubts on him. You know, I didn't think that he would be able to reproduce what he's been doing even the season before, but Captain Marvel, you know, he's doing his thing, Norway captain and all that stuff. It's going to see his counterpart, Haaland, as well. Hopefully, this fly needs to get out of my face. Hopefully, yeah. You know, your Haaland doesn't get to his head, but I feel like Odegaard is going to, again, show you what he's all about.
All right, okay, you are very confident. I'm feeling a lot more nervous than what I did. Right, okay, real quick. You work with a lot of Arsenal players.
Yes.
He's got some really, really cool stuff on Arsenal social media channels. Talk to me about the boys.
They're good, man.
Talk to me about the relationship you've got with the players and who the funniest guy is in the dressing room.
You know what it is? When he joined, I didn't think he was as funny as he was. Fabio is hilarious. Like, he's got these little one things that he says that you're like, all right, you're actually quite jokes. But yeah, Fabio has to be Fabio. You know, Eddie's up there as well. The three Gabbies, you know, you can't separate them. And with Gabby, little Gabby and Fabio, you can't separate them two. When they're together, they're really mischievous. So yeah. All of them are really good vibes. So, yeah, it was a good time in Germany when we went there. We went to Orlando and then went to Baltimore as well. And, yeah, we just had a great time. It was really fun.
Good vibes indeed. Hopefully not too many good vibes for the Arsenal fans
trying
today.
to get good vibes today, man.
I feel so nervous. Let's get a score prediction just in case things do go our way and I can clip it and I can post it.
What's your score prediction? You're saying you're nervous, but I feel like you're going to give me a confident scoreline.
I will always back my football team.
I knew it.
I'm going to say 2-1 to Manchester City.
Funny enough, I said 2-1 to Arsenal. You know what I think's going to happen? I feel like you lot are going to score first, but this place is going to erupt. Yeah, your lot are going to be shook, and then we're going to get 2 past you to make it 2-1.
We do have a little section in the corner just behind me.
Yeah.
We'll be making a lot of noise. I'll be in there. He'll be making noise in the Arsenal.
Yes, I will.
Let's go back to the studio. I feel even more nervous now.
Big thank you to FG, who is just literally living his best life every single day. Never see that man not smiling. So that was the Arsenal team news for tonight's game. As soon as we saw that, all of the talk in the studio was about Partey not being in the team tonight. How significant is that, Paul?
I think he's as important to Arsenal as what Rodri is for Man City. Different types of players, but he's the heartbeat. Look, Odegaard's been sensational. Saka's been sensational. The Arsenal team all season have been sensational, but he's the one when he's in the team that makes them tick. Off the ball, he gets back, he makes interceptions, he makes tackles, and on the ball he's got a lot of quality, and he starts a lot of the attacks off for them. I know Jorginho is an experienced player, he's a very good player, but he's not Thomas Partey in that system that Arsenal like to play.
It's going to be some interesting battles tonight, Kolo. Looking at like Jorginho and Xhaka in the midfield up against De Bruyne, Gundogan, wherever Bernardo Silva plays. What are your key battles, do you think, in the game tonight?
I will say it's on the middle. We can the last game they played against each other, you could see like, you know, it was a lot of men marking on the middle, and you could see like players from the middle were looking for spaces which couldn't find, and that was really interesting because we saw some few long ball which we wasn't used to. But I believe that tonight will be a different game. Technically, both teams have fantastic midfield players, and of course we spoke about Partey. I believe that it will be a big miss because technically for me is unbelievable, you know, as physically as well and defensively as well. Read the game very well, but he can take the ball, he can break line of pass, he can dribble people. He has so much quality, and he's a generous player. He work hard for the team. He will run to get to track back and get the ball back to play for the team. And that kind of players they're very rare. They're very, very rare, and I think it will be a big miss there for Arsenal, in my opinion.
In the FA Cup game a few weeks ago, Steve, we saw Arsenal trying to man mark us. Do you think that's a kind of system they'll play tonight? Obviously, very different team from them from that FA Cup game.
I think we might see a different... Well, I hope to see a different game because I think the two of them were kind of cancelling each other out slightly, and I think it was a case of waiting for somebody, as Dickie said, waiting for somebody possibly to make a mistake. I think in this game, I think it'll be a little bit more open. Yes, the players will have the jobs to do, and Arteta and Pep will have sort of said to players X, Y and Z at any given point. But ultimately, I think this could be a bit more of an open game. I think Arteta will be looking to put on a show for the Arsenal fans at home, but at the same time, I think it's a perfect opportunity for Pep to sort of say, listen, we're going to flex our muscles here a little bit. This is how good we are. So I'm hoping for a really open game, an attacking game. One that we see a lot more chances, a lot more open. And as I said, I think the first game was just to kind of, let's feel each other out. Let's see where we are. But I think because players and both managers have got a good idea now of how both teams, or each of the teams going to act and react, then they might just think, I'll tell you what, we can just settle down here and play our own game.
Be interesting as well. There's loads of fantastic matches all over the pitch. And going back to the FA Cup game, I don't know what Kolo thinks, Ben White not playing, and Tomiyasu coming in and right back. I actually thought Jack Grealish got the better out of Tomiyasu in that game. So, and Ben White's been outstanding in that position, so to come in there. And when I seen Tomiyasu was starting, I wasn't expecting to see Ben White in the bench, because I think Arsenal's strongest back four, or reliable back four, has been with Ben White in it.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I still believe as well that Tomiyasu defensively is quite a robust player, and is more a defender than Ben White, in my opinion, there. And I think that's why Arteta decided to play him tonight. And that will be very interesting because Jack is, for me, the main in form for Man City. He took time to get in the club, in the style of football, because I believe that he's much more a free player. He need to run everywhere like he used to play at Aston Villa. But here, you need to, with City, you need to have tactical discipline. It took time, but now he got it now, and you could see like he used that very wisely. You know, he can dribble people again. He can take on 2 free guys on his own. He can assist. He can score, and I'm looking forward to that battle definitely.
I can't wait for this game. I'm so excited. We're about 40 minutes away from tonight's 7:30 kickoff against Arsenal. And Arsenal apparently are, and I found this quite surprising when I read this earlier, we have played against Arsenal more than we've played against any other team in the club's history. 206 games against Arsenal. Just phenomenal. Played them more than anybody else. I just didn't expect that, Paul.
No, I didn't at all. Used to play them quite a lot. When this man was playing them, we never won any game at all. We used to get battered all the time, regardless of what club we were at.
Oh no, we really did. Kolo, I have your stats here. Yeah. When you played for Arsenal against City, you played 11 games. Do you want to guess how many of them you won?
12.
Maybe 8.
9.
Okay.
You played in 11 games against City, 9 wins, 1 draw and 1 defeat. Phenomenal record. Our record against Arsenal is very different now than it was many years ago. 10 Premier League wins in a row now against Arsenal. But there really was a time before that where Arsenal just consistently beat us. We thought we might just take a look at some brilliant Arsenal goals against us. So a couple of the players that have had, phenomenal records against us. Sylvain Wiltord played 5, won 5, scored 4, assisted 3. We were seeing one of his goals there. Do you remember him as a player, Paul?
Yeah, he was fantastic goal, wasn't he? So sharp, goal scorer, great movement.
Absolutely.
Is that you, Steve? No.
I
Was
hope
that you
not.
up there?
Otherwise,
No.
I'm out of position. And I'm doing the attack and defending kind of role.
It's a bit fuzzy, forgive me, it's a bit fuzzy. I wondered if that was you. So, yeah, he had a phenomenal record. And then a man that you were working with this week, Thierry Henry, right, also similar to Kolo, played 11, won 9, drew 1, lost 1, scored 5 goals against us, assisted 7.
He was one of the best, just sensational.
Yeah.
An absolute gentleman off the pitch, but just so lethal. He had everything. I mean, Steve, you must have chased him back a few times, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't like it. He was brilliant because what he used to do, if we were attacking, he used to just walk himself back on side and then just hang out on the left-hand side more often than the right. But wow, what a player. I remember playing against him and he was at Monaco and he was 17-year-old. And he went past a lad called Steve Watson, who was quick, but he knocked the ball past him, sprinted round his coach off the pitch, got the ball the other side, crossed it and scored. But he was a phenomenal talent. He just didn't know which way he was going to go because either foot he was deadly with.
He was a winger, left winger. He used to play there a lot, and then he really converted as a striker when he came really to Arsenal, and that's why. There's a lot of moment on his game where he goes on this side, he get a ball, and he could dribble people. He can pass 1-2 and attack the space. He was a top pro, a guy who live football. Training, home, relax, come back for training. He was an unbelievable professional.
That assist was ridiculous, by the way. Who does an overhead kick as an assist?
It was great. What a team that must have been to play in, though. It was the best team I played against. I don't know about you, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely superb. Just not only basically it was the whole team, but as a threat going forward, it came from everywhere. It wasn't just obviously like the Bergkamp or is it not Lingard?
Freddy Ljungberg.
Ljungberg. Yeah. Obviously Thierry. It was just absolutely.
Dennis Bergkamp.
He just frightening players.
Yeah, so Freddie Ljungberg's record against us, Kolo played 7, won 6, drew 1, scored 5, assisted 1. Dennis Bergkamp's record against us, played 9, won 9, scored 3. It was just a different generation back then. We're seeing Dennis Bergkamp now.
He was the best for me.
Oh, the best ever?
Ever. I was so fortunate as a kid to train with him every day, played in the odd game with him. He was just... He could see things that other people couldn't see, and as a forward and that, you would make a run and you wouldn't have to look over your shoulder to see where the ball was coming. If Dennis had the ball, you knew you were getting it. And the best thing I liked about Dennis and Kolo, just Steve playing against him as well, he was a little bit nasty.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was nasty.
But because
he left a foot in or two.
Because he was that elegant as a player.
Absolutely, yeah.
People didn't see that side of him, but he knew how to stick the foot in there and upset people.
Is that where you learned that?
Yeah.
I will tell you a story about him. At training, I was really aggressive because our training with that team at that time was sometimes harder than games. Yeah. It was so competitive and unbelievable, and I was really strong on him. Give him two tackles, and on the third one, I'm just come behind him again, receiving the ball. He just lift his elbow, okay. And when he lifts his elbow, I'm coming tight there, right in my ear there. Oh my God, the worst pain ever. Worst pain ever.
In training?
Honestly.
Brutal.
But he did that with class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'll accept that because he's done it nicely.
He done it nicely. He knew what he was doing, but he done it nicely. I was in pain almost for 5 minutes. Yeah. I wanted to go on him. I was like, no, he done that with class, man. You can't do anything.
He would let players know that as elegant, as fantastic, as technically good he was on the ball, people knew that. But he would let people know that he could leave a bit on you as well.
Exactly.
Ooh, I like that. And I guess training at that level only benefited you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Training was so competitive. You know, you had 20 players, 22 players there on the pitch, unbelievable, fighting for the position. You had to earn. And there's a moment of my career where sometimes I was feeling injury. You know, I was feeling like fatigue or injury, but I would just keep going because I knew that as soon as you leave the team, you don't come back again. Simple as that.
Love that, yeah. What a phenomenal team Arsenal were back then. And I am glad that the record is very different now, Paul. Right, we're going to ask some of your WhatsApp questions now. Absolutely loads of them coming through. Thank you so much for sending them through. So the first one that I've got is from Ash. He says, hey guys, what do you make of this new look City defence with 3 in the back and Bernardo dropping to make up the 4 and control the build-up of play from the back? So we've kind of touched on that a bit, Ash, but are you like the new look 3?
Yeah, I do. I thought on Saturday we were 3-0 up at half-time with this. I know it was against a different calibre of opposition than what Arsenal is. And we've seen Pep do it before. You know, Zinchenko's done it, João Cancelo's done it. And I just think that the energy that Bernardo Silva's got, you know, his running stats every game are through the roof. You know, so if he needs to drop back into that position, he can do it. But I think mainly it's to try and outnumber teams in midfield. And obviously when he is in that position, he knows that position, he's got the quality to do it. But on the flip side, defensively he's very good. And he's got the energy and the work rate to get back in and drop in when needed.
Could it change, Steve, when John Stones is fit again?
Well, at least it's another option for the manager. And I think that, you know, that's what Kolo was saying before. You know, the strength and depth in the squad is fantastic. You know, and the manager can look at it. And again, the manager will look at how players train. You know, as you were sort of saying, that the standard has got to be so high. And if you're slightly off your training, you don't get in the team. Or if you've got a slight little niggle, you're out the team. And when are you going to get back in? But yeah, it'll change. But it'll change when the manager decides that this is different formation I want to play. This is the different personnel I want to have in the team. So it'll change. But ultimately, you know, him coming in, it's like for like if you want, because it's one top player going out, another top player coming in.
I think the thing is with Man City, it doesn't matter which system they play, they will control the ball. Yeah. You know, and as you know, it's so important. When you control the ball, you have technical players who don't lose easy balls. It's so good, you know, and that's why it can change the system. It can do any system. But one thing, they will possess the ball. They will try to control that game, and that's vital for the game.
I think City's biggest problem tonight will be, if they're going to have one, is when they lose the ball and they turn over possession, exactly. And how quick Arsenal can hit them in the break with having the 3 at the back.
That's a good point, that.
Okay. We've got a question here for you, Kolo, and it said, would you ever consider, or would you like to ever train with coach alongside Yaya?
That's a good question. We are completely different, guys. Yaya is Yaya, and I'm Kolo, and we see life differently, you know. But when I played, I wanted to play with him. That's why, you know, when the opportunity came to come in Man City, I just took the phone, called him, come here. And came in, think it was good. Yeah, let's see one day, maybe, why not? Why not? But I'm not sure it will happen.
Never say never.
Yes.
Exactly, never say never, exactly.
Love that. Okay, we've had a question from Y, who says, do you guys consider today's game the toughest that we're going to face?
Yeah, at the minute there is, because Arsenal, top of the league. There's a lot of pressure on both teams in this game. And I just think from Arsenal's point of view, you know, although we beat them in the cup, but they took the last 2 games. The last thing they'd have wanted would have been to have dropped points coming into this Man City game. You know, a few weeks ago, everybody was talking about it was 8 points or 5 points per game in hand. It was 8 points. Now we go into this game that if Man City can win it, it goes level. But I think for both teams, not just for City against Arsenal, I think this will be the toughest game, because people say, well, this decide the Premier League. I don't think tonight will. But it'll give a big marker from where it's going to go on both teams as well.
We've had a question from Carl for Kolo. I think this is a really nice one, and one that I think you're the perfect person to answer, Kolo. What will it be like for Zinchenko to play against the Blues tonight, given his long-standing connection to our club?
He will be so hungry to do well. That's the feeling you have, you know, when you've been to a club and you play against them. The only thing you want to do is to make sure you win and to show that, you know, they will regret you And that's the idea, really. We really want to hurt them. But you smile with them, you talk with them, but deep inside, you want to show them you were a top player and they should have never let you go.
I bet that man's gutted he's not playing, Paul.
I know. If anything, not that it should, because you should be so hungry in every single game, but when you're playing against the club that you've left to go against, it gives you that little bit extra, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Ooh, OK.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm going to be heartbroken. If he scores and he goes wild, I'll be really heartbroken. But he should do. He should go wild.
Yeah,
though,
well,
right?
I get battered for that. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
My first game back after I left City, when I came back, I got cheered on and then booed off at the same time.
Leicester.
Yeah.
He scored a penalty at Bartlett in that game. I think we beat him 3-0.
3-0, yeah.
Thank you so much for your questions. Genuinely, absolutely loads. I'll try and get through some more at half-time and then full-time as well. Now, FG is pitchside at the Emirates. And he's only gone and found himself a special guest.
You'll never guess who I have just bumped into. I am joined by former Arsenal and, of course, Manchester City player Bakary Sagna. Bakary, it's great to see you pitchside. Before we start, let's hear a little bit about your journey playing for Arsenal and for Man City. What was it like playing for both clubs?
Well, it was quite amazing, and obviously coming back here is very special because it's not down to everyone to be able to play for such a big club, for such big clubs, I want to say, because Man City is also a big club and it's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a lot of work. I deserved because I spent my life working really hard and I got the chance and the confidence to be able to play for both teams, so it's special.
We absolutely loved you in Sky Blue. Let's talk a little bit about when you played for Man City. You sort of played a similar role under Pep Guardiola as Rico Lewis is doing, as the inverted fullback, and playing in midfield. What was it like playing under Pep?
Very strange, very strange. Obviously, being in the middle of part was not my main quality. I had to adapt really fast because I came back a bit late from European Cup. We went to the final, so I came back 2 weeks later. So for me, it was a bit challenging at the beginning, just to adapt and to find a new role. But when there is a will, you can manage everything, and I think I did okay. I could have done better if I was maybe more used to it, but, you know, I'm quite happy with the way I did.
You should be. I think everybody who's watching Matchday Live will say that you're a massive fan favourite. Let's talk a little bit about the Arsenal manager, Arteta, who you shared a dressing room with. Did you expect for him to become a manager? Did you always see them qualities in Mikel?
Well, he had naturally the quality to be a leader. He was a leader in Arsenal. He became our captain, and he liked to be the connection between the coach and the players, and he always had some words in the dressing room and on the pitch. So he had a natural desire to be a leader, and I'm not surprised at all because back in the days I used to watch games with him at his place because our family were really close, and he was only talking about tactics all game along. So I just wanted to have fun watching a football game, eating chips, but he was fully focused and trying to discover how the team were going to play. So it's natural for him to be able to think about it.
Natural indeed. It is Pep against Arteta. I'm with Bakary Sagna at pitchside. Back to you guys in the studio.
I love FG. Literally every time he's doing something, he just looks like the happiest guy ever. I'm FG and I'm with Bakary Sagna. He thinks he's going to pop with excitement there. Also loving Bakary Sagna. I could watch a football game with him, just watch football and eat chips. Love that. So on Matchday Live tonight, of course, Kolo Toure is making his debut. I don't know if you know this, Kolo, but it's 21 years ago yesterday that you joined Arsenal. So you joined Arsenal on Valentine's Day. And this began a love affair, see what we did there, with English football. Absolutely. So incredible. We saw some of the Arsenal goals, but incredible Arsenal team that you played in. Of course, you were part of the Invincibles. You know, you were just 23 at the time. To be part of that team, that must have just been an incredible, incredible season.
It was a dream. It was a dream for me because I played with players that I was watching on the TV every day. And when I came, I did my trial, everything, and signed. I couldn't believe, honestly. I couldn't believe being with Thierry Henry, with Martin Keown, with Sol Campbell, with Dennis Bergkamp, Rui Paulo, top man, you know, and Patrick, of course. And that was it was a best moment of my career, I would say, because I was young and I was surrounded with really experienced players around me, and they were teaching me. They were teaching me football, teaching me to be a man. And it was fantastic moment.
You made your kind of became a regular starter in 03-04 alongside Sol Campbell. What was that like? What was that partnership like for you?
It was the big brother for me. You know, he was around me, supporting me, helping me. You know, I knew his strength. His strength was unbelievable in the air, and I was quite small and I was rapid, and that combination was working really well. You know. He attacked the ball, everything dropped, I had to catch him, you know, and it was fantastic for me. He gave me the platform to express myself as a young defender.
Do you think we'll ever see an invincible team again?
No, I just keep saying it. It was such a special team, and the best team I played against. You could go to Jose's Chelsea first time around. It was so difficult to play against, but they had everything. And we were talking about all the quality players that they had. You know, Henry, Perez, Patrick, Bergkamp. You could keep going, Lundberg, you could go on and on. But you know what? They were tough to play against. They were tough. The amount of quality they had, but the mentality. You couldn't go into. Sometimes when you played against teams that had the quality that Arsenal had, before the game you can go out and say, look, let's rough them up. Let's try and beat them up a little bit. Let's get under their skin. They could do that as well, and that was so much more impressive. But Invincibles team were absolutely sensational.
There's so many games we lost. There's so many games we won just by fighting spirit. You know, this is game where we started and we felt like, oh, that will be a tough day for us. We're going to lose that game, but we always.
The last game.
Exactly.
Okay, it was Leicester, wasn't it?
Absolutely, it was.
It went 1-0 down. They'd already won the league. And
but they wanted the
party atmosphere.
Exactly.
But we were probably the better team first half. 1-0.
Yeah.
Second half, wow. I don't know what was said in half time, but they came out and just outplayed us, beat us up. And there was only one thing they wanted to do, and was to win that game, even though the league was already won.
Yeah, it was the winning mentality and everywhere on the pitch. You know, like I said, that was starting from the training ground. Everything started there. The competition there at training was unbelievable. You know, everybody was fighting for the position, and that was making the game on Saturday much more easy. You know, this game I played and I was feeling like, oh, that's fine.
Get a rest on the Saturday.
Yes, exactly. Honestly, because you're working so hard. You know, you play against Dennis Bergkamp at training, play against him, you play against Steven Wiltord. You want to score, you have to defend against him, and then you go home, you're tired, you know, and you have to go again next morning, show again to Mr. Wenger that you deserve the position, and that was incredible. The competition in the team was the key, in my opinion.
Where does Arsene Wenger rate in terms of managers you worked under? Is he the best?
For me, he was the best. Yeah, he's the best. I will say, because his man management was unbelievable. He covered the father figure, I will say, you know, and for young players, it was unbelievable. But one thing for me always stuck in my mind, he gave you the belief that you can achieve the impossible. And for me, that was everything. I came from Africa, you know, and for me, even in my dream, I never thought like I was going to play for Arsenal. But he gave me that support, he gave me that help, always calm, and that was incredible. He's a guy who can make it. For me, I will say he's a guy who can make an average player a top player. You know, with the support he gave you. Mm-hmm. You know, with his staff, of course, because he had great staff. He had great staff at that time, of course.
So you had 7 great years at Arsenal, and then you came to us in 2009, ended up with 102 appearances, 3 goals, by the way, and of course a Premier League title. You talk about the fighting spirit that there was at Arsenal that was so important. Mm. When you came to City, did you notice that, or did that grow? Because it feels like that Premier League winning team had that fighting spirit.
When I joined the club here, it was a club who wanted to be one of the best in the world. And you could see like the signing were coming, and those signings were coming with the winning mentality. And I think that changed completely the team. You know, when the Silva came, the Yaya came, the Aguero came, you bring in players they had the winning mentality, and they just come and they want to deliver, they want to do it. And again, at the start, everything was okay. It was quite easy, really, you know, but with more competition, you know, I end up losing my position as well, you know, because there's more players coming and the competition was high. And that's what makes a top team. You need competition between players. And yeah, this is a nice goal.
Yes, I was just saying that, yes.
They all count.
Very lucky, very lucky.
They all count.
Everest was about to pounce, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
And since then, you've gone on to do coaching Liverpool, Celtic, Leicester. Was that always the plan once you stopped playing? Was that always something you kind of fancied?
As a coach?
Yes.
Absolutely. I love football.
Yeah.
I love football and I love to be on the grass. As a player, I was always vocal. You know, I wanted to help my teammates. I want to win every training. I want to win every session at training. You know, and that winning mentality, I just take that, and that's what I want to do. That's what I want to give to the players. I want to make players better. I want them to love winning, you know, with a certain style, because I love football, like quality football. I want to watch games where I'm watching and I'm like, wow, what a game, you know, because for me, football still, with everything around, for me, football is still a game, and people need to enjoy the game. You know, and that's, of course, you want to win. Winning is everything, like I said, but with a certain way. I love it.
What does the future hold, do you think? What's next for you?
For me now, start my managerial career. As you know, it's been really tough, but it's a setback, really. But it was a fantastic opportunity for me, and I went there. I took the challenge. I knew it was going to be a tough challenge, but I love challenges. You know, when I came here from Ivory Coast, no one knew about me, you know, and I did what I did, and I believe that with my coaching career, my managing career, you know, things will start, and of course, like I said, it was a setback, but I will bounce from that, and yeah, I'm looking to get another club definitely, and then just show what I can give to the players.
What about the Ivory Coast one day? Would that be a proper dream?
Oh, yeah, that's a ultimate dream, you know, because. Yeah. Like as an African, you know, I always say that, I've said that vocally, really, you know, I want to win the World Cup with one African team. You know, that's my dream, you know, and that's why, you know, because for me, he hurt me to don't see Africa with all the quality we have, not winning any like World Cup or anything like that. And that's a dream. When I saw Morocco get really close, that was fantastic for me. I know it's tough, you know, because the competition is crazy. You know, with Europe, America, you know, South America is very, very hard. But like I said, is my dream, is my target, and that's why I'm a manager today.
When you took over the managerial job at Wigan, I mean, I've heard stories of players when they've gone into the first managerial job, they've spoke to the ex-managers that they've played with, and maybe managers that they haven't, but they've just rang them up just for some advice.
Yeah.
Did you do that? And if so, who was it?
Absolutely. I took advice from Hassan. I took, of course, from Brandon Rodgers, as you know. And they always support me. And it was my decision, really, to go, because I knew it was going to be tough for a first job to go for a club who were fighting for relegation, really. But, yeah, I just took the challenge, really. And for me, I have no regret at all. I learned so much from these 2 months, really, you know. And one thing I will always keep in my mind: when you leave a job and you have 4, 5, 6 main players from that club calling you back or texting you, and with nice messages,
means a lot.
That's mean a lot, and that's what I'm taking, you know. And of course, unfortunately, it didn't work the way I wanted, but I'm hungry to keep going for it.
Love it.
Brilliant.
Absolute best of luck to you. You really do clearly have the full passion for it, and the hunger for it. So really look forward to seeing What club you manage next, Kolo, will be fully behind you. Unless your team are playing City, then we'll want you to lose, obviously. But thank you. Real pleasure to talk to you. It really is. Now, tonight, we've got about 15 minutes away from the 7:30 kickoff against Arsenal. And of course, given the global appeal of the Premier League, we know that it's not just fans here in England who are excited for tonight's game. Richard Starr is a City fan who's been living in Oslo for 20 years and is a member of City's Scandinavian official supporters club. Now, they have over 2,000 members. That's insane, of people from Norway and Denmark. We caught up with him this week to discuss two very popular Norwegians in particular who will be on show tonight.
I think there's a huge amount of excitement because it's a long time since two Norwegian players had such an influence, potential influence, on the Premier League. We've got to think back to the 1990s for the last time, really, that two Norwegian players could be so influential. And particularly Erling Haaland's arrival at City has been monumental in terms of something as simple as shirt sales. They've skyrocketed here in Norway. The interest for City has skyrocketed. Martin Ødegaard's presence at Arsenal has also been very beneficial for interest in Arsenal here in Norway. But I think his arrival was perhaps a little bit more low-key than Erling Haaland. I think Arsenal have always had very strong support as well. City's support has been very steady all through the years, even when things weren't going so well. And it's nice to see a real uptick in that support. And Erling Haaland's influence has been fantastic in doing that. City's support had increased dramatically anyway, just because of the football that we've been playing, just because of the titles we've been winning. You know, the Guardiola influence cannot be underestimated, but Erling Haaland's taken it to another level. They are the two undoubted stars of the Norwegian national team. You've just got to look at Haaland's scoring record, Salzburg, Dortmund, and then Ødegaard and what he's done in Spain. Even though things didn't necessarily work out for him at Real Madrid, he had a huge impact on La Liga. And so the interest has always been incredibly high. I remember all of the talk around Martin Ødegaard's transfer to Real Madrid. It was huge. So Erling Haaland's arrival at City just focuses more media attention on City, and that drives interest in our club.
How does that translate now to the national team? Is there more optimism across the country?
Yes, I think there is. And I think that the fact that two Norwegian players are competing at the very highest level and are two superstars of the game is helping. Grassroots football here is incredibly strong. I just look at the involvement of my son, my stepsons in football at their clubs, and the level of training that youngsters are receiving is fantastic. And so grassroots football here is incredibly strong, and it's probably at a better level than it's ever been.
Can you see more young Norwegians coming over to England and making a name for themselves in the Premier League?
Yes, I can. I can see it. I can see it happening. I can see over the next few years that we're going to get some very, very good young players coming out of Norwegian football. And so it wouldn't surprise me if there are further gems to emerge over here. The interest for football is absolutely enormous. The interest in the Premier League is huge, but the interest in football in other parts of Europe equally so. And it's something that kids grow up with. And, you know, we've got Julie Blackstone in the ladies team. So it might be in the ladies game that we see further stars emerging. So, yeah, very definitely a good chance that more Norwegian young footballers will come through and have an influence on the game in the UK.
So that's Richard Stott. He's a City fan living in Oslo. He's a member of the Scandinavian Official Supporters Club, which has over 2,000 members, and received a visit from this man. You were there last year.
Yeah, late last year. We went over there. Didn't really know what to expect, but Richard was saying there, 2,000 fans at the event. That was actually the derby, the home game, when Erling scored the hat-trick, the 6-3 game.
We're seeing you celebrating. There you are.
That was fantastic. What I did love about them, and I don't mind a little bit of hospitality.
Yeah.
They loved their hospitality from the minute we got there till the minute we left.
They were looking after you.
Yeah, but you were saying there, I don't know what it was like before, but the interest in the Premier League, but especially Man City now, because Erling, everywhere you went, whether it was an event or it was a bit of shopping or in the hotel, just number 9, Haaland, in the Man City shirt. So it's definitely, Erling being here, and obviously Odegaard at Arsenal has definitely raised the profile. We've done a kids event. They said previously there was only about 40 kids that turned up. They had to turn people away, because it's the grassroots level, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger all the time, which is so good to see.
Love that. Fantastic. Love that. Love your worldwide trips as well. Where will we send you next? Well, we sent FG to pitchside at the Emirates, and he's found Michael Brown.
All right, pitchside at the Emirates. I am joined by Mr. Michael Brown. Brownie, we've seen the team. Let's have your initial thoughts straight away. Well, straight away, you're just looking and thinking, how's Pep Guardiola going to go about it? Is it a back 4? Is it a back 3? Does Erling Haaland play? That's a huge point at the top. He does play, really exciting point, but it looks like it could be a similar setup to Aston Villa with that back 3, but obviously Nathan Ake coming in instead of Aymeric Laporte, possibly to go and look for Saka down that right-hand side for Arsenal. So an extra one in the midfield, again for Pep Guardiola. Bernardo Silva's role is going to be questioned. It is going to be questioned. We'll get onto that in a second. Let's go back to Nathan Ake. The last time we played Arsenal was the FA Cup game, and Nathan Ake had an extraordinary game, and he scored the winner that day. Do you think his performance against Saka last time is the reason he's got in instead of Laporte tonight? I think you've got to certainly consider that. It was an excellent performance. He's obviously played much more minutes than Aymeric Laporte. Getting that goal will give him confidence as well. So you're just trying to work out the setup for Pep Guardiola, because if you're playing that 3 like it was against Villa, everybody's talking about it. They're going to get the ball out wide in those right-hand sort of flanks for Arsenal, and that will test City out. So whether they allow a little bit more room for Nathan Ake in that natural left-back position to get across, could we see Rodri step in and help the sort of the defence in the middle of it? Could Bernardo as well, sort of out of possession, being around it as well? So it's an exciting positions. Martinelli's a key area as well. Nketiah playing well. That's Kyle Walker down that right-hand side. It is a midfield full of energy. And one man who loves playing against Arsenal is Kevin De Bruyne. He scored 5 times against Arsenal. That is the same against Chelsea and Wolves, the best record in his career. Will we see a Kevin De Bruyne masterclass tonight, Brian? Hope we see 7. Hopefully he comes back in, gets more goals. I love it when Kevin De Bruyne plays. I understand at times you can't play every position, but I think what he gives you is, you see on the turn straight away, he can make balls in behind. So I think it's going to be important, if Arsenal go man for man, that you can get Haaland in that 1v1, that race in behind, pulling off shoulders. He's got that, hasn't he, in abundance to be able to play those passes. So it's great that he's in that middle. And in that setup, he might actually have a little bit more room. And obviously, let's really quickly touch on Arsenal. Thomas Partey missing, it's a massive, massive blow for them. But they have got Jorginho, new winter signing coming in. Yeah, I mean, listen, Jorginho, the experience he has, we were talking only a couple of seasons ago how unbelievable he was. Then he's had a little bit of a fall away, but that's also because of his team. So a wonderful signing for Arsenal. They will miss Thomas Partey, because what he brings, I had a quote just before for somebody in the press area, nobody can play like him. I thought that was a really telling point and a one to miss. So yeah, Jorginho, good replacement. Granit Xhaka in the middle as well. And Odegaard is still a really strong midfield. It is indeed. It's going to be a great game between the top 2. Brownie, what's your score predictions? Oh, it's so difficult. Tomiyasu as well, I must mention, coming in as that change for Arsenal. Will they go man for man? Will they go and press City? City will press them. 2-1 City. So I'm working with Martin Keown a little bit later on a few things, and he's just said we could witness one of the greatest games that we've seen for some time. Hopefully that's the case, and Man City go on and win quite comfortably. I will take anything, as long as it's a Manchester City win. Back to you guys in the studio. Thanks, Brownie.
Thanks to FG and Michael Brown there. So we are only 5 minutes away now from kick-off. Just a quick prediction from you all in the studio, Paul.
It's not very often I agree with Michael Brown on anything, but It's going to be a tight game, but I'm going to go 2-1 Man City just to nick it.
Oh, God, I won't be able to cope with the last 5 minutes of that. Kolo, tell us your truth as well. You don't need to say City if you don't think it.
I can see a draw there, 1-1.
OK.
And it's not very often I agree with Brownie, and I'm not going to agree with him again tonight, but I'm going to go 3-1.
Yes, that's better. That's what I like. What I'd like to do is feel comfortable for the last sort of 5-10 minutes and not be like chewing me nails. Thank you. Thank you to Kolo, to Steve and to Paul. We will all be back at half-time talking about the first 45 minutes and, of course, at full-time as well, where I'll try and get through more of your really great WhatsApp questions, so many of them coming through. Now, don't forget, the only place to get your commentary for this game is with Alistair, Mann and Michael Brown. You can get that on the Manchester City app. So, Blues, enjoy the next 45 minutes as the top two teams in the Premier League go head-to-head. We'll see you at half-time.
To the Emirates Stadium. We've had to wait almost 6 months for this showdown.